Hey guys, welcome back to Comet Plute. So today, we are gonna break down the fourth episode of Invincible Season 2. After the shocking cliffhanger at the end of episode 3, it was only a matter of time before we saw Invincible reunite with his father Omni-Man in the most unexpected way on the planet of Thraxa. We spent the next week desperately waiting for Mark and Nolan to get back together, or if we were going straight to the rematch between Invincible and Omni-Man we had been waiting for all season. So let's find out, but before going into the video, please subscribe to my channel for more videos like these in the future. The episode begins with a reenactment of the climactic end of the first season, only this time we follow Omni-Man as he embarks on a journey away from Earth. Nolan goes out into space, never knowing where he is going, until he winds up in a black hole, where he attempts to commit suicide by being pulled into it. At this point, a Thraxan vessel appears and is about to be sucked into the black hole until Omni-Man intervenes, saving the vessel and returning it to the Thraxans, where they plead with Omni-Man to stay and protect them. Back in the present day, Mark confronts Emperor Nolan, and after some initial tension, father and son embrace in a hug. The moment doesn't last very long, as Mark is still deeply angry with his father, including over the latest lie that brought him to Thraxa. With frustration, Mark attempts to escape only to find that he is too far away from Earth to escape. Nolan urges Mark to listen to the plight of the Thraxans. However, this explanation is spoiled when Mark finds out that not only does he have a Thraxan wife named Andressa, but he also has a rapidly growing son who is Mark's half-brother. Back on Earth, Debbie Grayson is still wandering aimlessly. After taking the massive hit of being kicked out of her support group, she visits Nolan's fake burial, still unsure whether their relationship is real or not, with Mark being the only true benefit. Debbie is clearly at her lowest point. The Mauler twins have returned. After losing one of his clones in Angstrom Lever's explosive experiment in episode 1, the remaining Mauler produces a new clone of himself. The clone Mauler immediately recognizes himself as the clone because the original is now plainly distinguishable because to his two-faced style deformities. With the hierarchy established, a new period of Mauler mayhem has begun. Donald goes to pay Debbie a visit, but she's out doing graveyard therapy. Donald's instincts led him across the street to the ruins of the safe house he used to manage while monitoring Omni-Man. When Donald finds his own glasses in the rubble, it confirms his suspicions that something is terribly wrong with his reality. Back on Thraxa, Nolan tries to appease Mark by explaining that his new son ages quickly, and that they both have a common adversary in the Viltrumids, who will come to punish Nolan for leaving Earth. Nolan warns Mark that the Viltrumids will pursue him and his half-brother, with the latter very certainly executed as an inferior kind of life form. Nolan believes that protecting family and innocence is all that Mark requires as motivation, and he is correct. Mark considers joining this father, but the decision is rendered moot when the three Viltrumite troops who tracked down and murdered Alan, the alien, arrive on Thraxa. Mark rescues Andressa and his half-brother in caves beneath Thraxa. He discovers that the typical Thraxan lifespan is barely 1 Earth year, despite the fact that his half-brother is aging at a slower rate. He also learns that Andressa fell in love with Nolan after he rescued her ship. They form a strong enough bond that when the largest Viltrumite soldier, Lucan, arrives, Mark fights to protect his father's new family. Lucan proves to be even more ruthless than Nolan, and Mark is quickly overwhelmed until his dad saves him. Back on Earth, Eve battles Kilcannon on a bridge, but things go awry, and the arrogant young heroine lets a car with 2 elderly bystanders fall off the bridge. Eve dives in and saves them, but they still end up severely injured. Eve can't handle another case of her hero work going wrong, and is left in emotional crisis. Finally, Donald sees his death and can't let go of his curiosity, and hacks a computer archive terminal in the GDA building to see the security footage from the safe house on the day he died. On Thraxa, Nolan is becoming increasingly enraged and perplexed by the death and destruction caused by the Viltrumids. He lashes out at Mark, questioning why empathy is desirable when it feels so horrible. The final 2 Viltrumite troops arrive for round 2 of battle, interrupting the philosophical conversation. The fight is severe. At one point, Nolan pulls Mark aside and chastises him for not fighting like a genuine Viltrumite, insisting that he unleash all of his rage and deadly instinct. Mark confronts the female soldier with her razored hair braid, and eventually starts laying down some serious smackdown on her. He's still too soft in the end. Nolan slaughters his opponent, but Mark hesitates with the kill blow and gets stabbed. Nolan slaughters the female soldier and saves Mark, but Lucan appears carrying his own entrails and knocks Nolan out with an earth-shattering dropkick. With every Viltrumite destroyed, Luca alerts the Empire that the mission has been completed. Meanwhile on Earth, Debbie gets her groove back by formally breaking all financial things with Cecil, the GDA, and Nolan's estate. She puts Nolan's belongings out on the curb for pickup, including his collection of novels. Mark awakes injured and immobile on Thraxa just in time to see his dad being carted away by the Viltrumids. Nolan begs Mark to remember the good he did for Earth and to read the books he wrote. Then Mark is visited by Viltrumite General Craig. Craig says the victory in battle has earned Mark a chance to be part of the Viltrumite Empire. When Mark starts to refuse, Craig brutally and concisely explains that Nolan is going to be executed for desertion, and Mark is now the new Viltrumite agent in charge of preparing Earth for peaceful conquest. If he does not, the Viltrumids will come to Earth and wipe out billions of humans. Mark is wished good luck and left bleeding into the Thraxan soil. In the end credits scene sees the Two-Face, Mauler betrayed and poisoned by the clone. Apparently, physical proof that there's an original is a deal breaker, and the clone stands over his dead twin exclaiming that sometimes things are the way they are for a good reason. Hopefully, that means a return to the classic Mauler twins formula.